So as you can see, my laptop's just over there. I'm lucky enough to have a VGA1. That's quite an old laptop, so it comes in handy for doing this. And like always, just underneath the table, just to line everything up. Now, the screen isn't perfect. It's not perfectly centered. Unfortunately, I don't, the tools that I'm using aren't going to achieve that. Well, they might if you've got years and years of experience, but you probably need a CNC machine to actually get everything absolutely precise. It's as precise as I can get it, and it's pretty bang on. You might find it's not actually totally and utterly perfect. As long as you can see the screen and it looks straight and centered, then everything's absolutely fine. I've measured from the corners of the screen to the corners of the table, and everything's within a certain tolerance. We've got maybe a millimeter or two out on either side, but it will look perfect. And unless you're gonna really look deep into it and measure it yourself, you're not gonna really know. And yeah, so as far as I can get it, it's as precise as I can actually manage to get it, and using it attached to something just helps you align it just that little bit better. And now I'm ready to glue on my actual frame, and then we can move on to the next part. So it's time now to actually build the actual frame to hold the screen to the top of the table. Now, we actually created this frame just a couple of videos ago, and we're going to be using that piece of wood today. So I've got a miter cutting tool. It's just a very cheap plastic block here, and we're going to be using that to actually create some miter cuts and create a nice kind of frame around it. You don't actually have to do this though. You can just create a couple of strips of wood if you want to, and you can just do that way. I'm going to be making it with a few miter cuts just to make it a little bit neater. It just looks a little bit better. I'm creating kind of a picture frame around it. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. So the way we're going to create miter cuts is basically we're going to measure the actual length of the screen on the bottom, and then we're going to create a miter cut on either each side. So the start of the miter cut on the left hand side starts at the edge of the screen and it goes outwards, and exactly the same for the other side. And then just repeat the process on the two left hand sides, on the right hand side, and on the top section just here. I'm not actually going to create a miter cut, I'm just going to create a strip, and I'm just going to screw it into the top because I don't want to attach it with the glue that I'm going to be using, purely because I want to be able to remove it and then remove the screen in the future if I need to. Okay, so once you're happy with your strips and everything's nice and aligned, everything's nicely fitting the actual screen on the sides of the screen, so we've got a block for the left and right and bottom. Doesn't matter if you did actually create those miter cuts, it's not really important. All that's important is that the alignment of the screen corresponds to the alignment of those wooden blocks. So what I want you to do is I want you to mark with a pencil where those wooden blocks are. Make sure that your screen can move in and out nice and smoothly, and yeah, make those marks. And then what we need to do is remove the screen, and then we just need to glue these wooden pieces in the alignments that we've just made. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of me actually doing this. For some reason my camera, I think, mustn't have been recording at the time, but I was using clamps to hold those pieces of wood in place. Make sure everything's nice and aligned, put those clamps in place, and just keep testing it every now and again, because those clamps might slowly move out of alignment ever so slightly, and if it does, unfortunately, this is just your one attempt to actually do this. And if you mess up now, it just means that everything we've done so far is just going to be a waste of time, and yeah, you're going to have to start again, possibly with a new tabletop, and we don't want that. So absolutely make positively sure that everything's nice and aligned, and that there's a good grip, that the actual frame has got enough grip on the actual screen. There's enough lip there to hold it in place, and as well as that, there's enough space for your tool to be able to remove that screen. Once you're happy, once you've done it, measured it twice, measured it 4 times if you need to, make those marks, glue it in place, clamp those pieces of wood in place, and then we can move on.